Hello, besties. Good to see you all. I got a question. I got a lot of questions about there are authors that come up to me and they're like, "I want to make a lot of money in a fast and like a really quick time." And publishing is generally not a quick money thing. It might be a long-term growth thing. Okay, later. There. Not trying to show you all my chest here, but freaking thing. Anyway, where was I? This is going to be kind of an evergreen thing. I've asked a couple questions of people. If you want me to do a video on any one of these items, I will do it later. This is about industry jobs. That is jobs that are within the progression fantasy or book publishing industry that you could do. And I'm going to start off with some controversial takes. I've added about 12 of these. I'm going to go over what it is, how much it's cost, and how to get in on the ground floor. So our first one is if you have any language skills, translation or transliteration. Translation is just like a one-for-one swap. Transliteration is kind of like adding some additional thing to that. Basically, there is a per word count. The Editorial Freelance Writer, Editorial Freelancers Association, EFA, they have a list of rates for this stuff, and I would kind of stick to it's probably going to be about $2,000 to translate a book. So if you are a German speaker and writer who also speaks English well enough to translate between the two, like then you can say, hey, I translate your books into English or German, although most German people know English, right? Like for instance, if you could translate my stuff into Korean, talk to me. I would love to have my work in Korean. I speak French. I speak enough Spanish to get by, but I could not translate my stuff into Korean, even though I'm studying it a little bit. It should probably cost about $2,000, and what you need to do is probably, for a lot of these, is going to be like, do a free edit for somebody or do a fan edit, and then just be like, hey, chances are if you're going to translate for somebody, that person does not speak the other language. But then you can have like, hey, this third party person, they speak English and that other language. They can verify that this is a good translation, right? That's going to be one of the more nebulous things. Rights if you know translation, you should also know the rights for that language and then like what language. So like when I looked at putting my book into Swedish and Finnish, I was like, okay, who is the market? And then in Swedish, it's like in Sweden, everyone wants crime thrillers. So I'm like, I don't know if Bodega Cat would do well there. But then again, there's 6,000 titles released in English every day. How many are released in Arabic? How many are released in Korean? Right? The market's different there. And I only need like 1,000 people to buy a book to be like, it's worth the time to hire a translator, right? So that's my first job. How to get in, give it a shot. Executive producer and narrator, kind of like the same thing for an audiobook. Now, as a narrator, you should not charge less than $200 per finished hour. However, if you're doing your own work or if you're doing your work for a friend, I would go lower than that. I'm going to attempt to narrate my own book. I'll have a video about that later. But think of it this way. You got to record the whole thing. It's about 10,000 words per an hour of spoken dialogue. Then you have to go back and edit it a little bit. So like the $200 per finished hour, that's my line. It's like, if it's quality, it's that. It's also like, I don't like to, like personally, I don't like to pay people below minimum wage or a living wage. And so basically, if you want to translate or you want to narrate books, it's probably like $2,000 per book, depending again on how long it is. In progression fantasy, they just tend to be around 10 to 20 hours. So you just made $2,000 to $4,000 recording a book over the course of a week or two. Those are the big money ones. You could do those like tomorrow if you had the voice for it, or if you translate, right? So where I'm from in America, nobody learns a second language. So like knowing one and coming in with it, you have an advantage. If you have a good voice, if you can do different voices on command, then you can be a narrator. Although there is a little bit more to it than that. I will have a video just on narrating alone as I expand on these. But this is what I would do in 2026, right? I want to do with some narration for me, for other people, to see how it is, right? I want to do one for Joe, who wrote, I just adjusted my shelf because my freaking thing went up and then my wedding photo fell down, so I gotta fix that. Um, this is definitely dated. So then we have editing. So the most abundant editor out there is a line editor, a line or copy editor. The line is for grammar, copy is for flow. Is what how I do it. Generally, those two are together, and there was a rate for that. You should probably cost about between $1,000 to $2,000 a book. That's what you should be charging, and you should probably do a few free edits for other people. If you're a okay writer, you can be a okay editor. However, these two things are not the same. Now, it's a big jump in quantity and quality for dev editors. Dev editors probably cost the most, probably like 2,000 to 3,000, maybe up to 4,000 per book, because a dev editor makes the book shine, right? They look at the whole structure of the book and they give you like a line, like a chapter by chapter, and like a thematic, like overall how to fix this, right? It should probably cost, and I'm telling you, like, if you're a dev editor, you're probably only going to be able to do like a book every week or 2 weeks. So that means, so like, go back by like how much you should be paying yourself. You should be charging what it costs you to do, right? How to get in. So I'm not a dev editor. If I wanted to be a dev editor, I would um, do a in-depth manuscript review with somebody else with a dev editor, and we would both go through it. I do not want to be a dev editor because it's too much to go through someone else's work for like that much time. But I can just read it out loud. So narration is more my style. But there is not a lot of dev editors. Next, these are more of the platform adjacent stuff. Um, so creative director is somebody that would work for a publishing house. You might also think of it as a DBM, or digital business manager. When an author gets to a certain level, they need someone to manage their stuff. They're going to look for a PA, a personal assistant, or a digital business manager. My recommendation is, if you want to become a creative director at a small indie publishing house, start off by being a writer's personal assistant, a writer's PA, where you're doing hourly stuff for the writer. Like, it's kind of ad hoc. There are some people that need writer's assistants, a PA, to carry out some stuff. I have a PA. He works for me 3 to 6 hours a week on stuff I have, more during more times. But like, if you need a PA, you have a specific thing you want to do with your platform, right? If at a certain point, like, there is a level where writers are like, I do not want to take care of this thing, my platform. I do not want to take care of Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, whatever, but I need to maintain it. And that is when they should already be making money in the industry. You should be friendly with them, and you should be like, hey, do you want someone to manage this? And this is like a small author working with a bigger author, and that would just be like, that's where it comes up. Authors generally don't know that this is a thing that they need, but like, the more you can stay in your flow state as an author, the easier it is. So if you have a PA to take care of stuff, and then they just like run things by you, like, hey, I need you to sign off on this, like, so much easier, right? Like, I'm going to be doing a bunch of interviews for my newsletter, and I have my PA handling that, right? Scheduling everything. Which brings back to social media is part of that. It might be a separate thing. So as an author, you might just have a social media or Discord moderator or something like that. And again, it's like being a trusted person. That should, for Discord moderator, I don't really have a sense of how much it should cost, but start with trust. There are people that I trusted, that I was like, when Immersive Ink went down, I'm like, congratulations, I trust you. You're a moderator. You're a moderator on my server. Surprise, you're an adult. I'm not paying these people. There's like 15 of them. It's like my server, like 2% moderators, and everyone's an adult. But like, for bigger authors, you might want that. And you might want someone to run your blog, your Facebook, your Blue Sky, whatever you're doing. They might just be the one like ghostwriting your blog. Who knows? So these are like, you're going to attach to an author or a publishing house, like, as a creative director. running between the head of the publishing house and the author, or like managing the business, right? To DBM, digital business manager. So there is a course. My name is Daya has. It's like $1,000. I want to send my people through it. I suggest you take a look at that. If you understand how digital businesses run through systems and operations, like you could even run your own publishing house if you decide you want to throw away money. That is a decision you could make. And then we have, so then there's like things that a publishing house or an author would do. They would not like keep people on staff. So a cover artist, they do the cover art, they do the audiobook covers, and sometimes they do other stuff. If you are an author and you're asking for cover art, you should always ask for an audiobook cover, and then some like other stuff, incidentals for advertising. And make sure that you have the commercial rights on any cover you get. It should probably cost between $600 to $1,000 for a cover. You should pay it. How to get in? Get good at drawing. That's why I spent some time. Let's see, this guy PhD. That's why I'm spending time drawing, so I can draw people free covers. Because I trust people, and also because like I don't want to have to argue about if something's AI or not. That is a job. So cover art is a job. How to get in? Have an art station and join the writer community, and like put in your bio and just be like, I'm an author and I also do covers. Emily McCosh does great covers. You should take a look at her YouTube stuff, but she does her own covers. She does her own writing. So like if you're an author that also does covers, great. This is not really a special thing, but it's I put it in as blurbist. So I've done over 200 blurbs for people. I've done it all for free. At this point, I could charge people $150 for a blurb, right? But that came because I spent all those times doing those blurbs and like going through like, hey, you have this catches my eye. Don't do this. All right, here's version 1, here's version 2, here's version 3, right? So how to get in doing blurbs, have a Fiverr account, do blurbs, advertise for the niche. Don't just do anyone's blurbs. You're doing progression fantasy blurbs, you're doing like romantasy blurbs, you're doing whatever specific niche you're doing, right? And some of this is like you're already within the niche. You know your friends in the niche. Hey, I started doing blurbs for money, $150 a blurb, right? Put it in your Discord bio when you're talking to people. Someone wants to ask, someone wants to DM you, great. I wouldn't just be like, I'm doing that. This one is going to get me flamed for. Feel free to flame me in the comments. I have no issue with agents in this space. However, that's not everyone's thing. So an agent, this goes back to trust. An agent is someone who will advocate for you and will talk to you, will take your work and then will sell it to a publisher for you. This means that you can focus on writing as an author. The people that are suited to be agents are probably also suited to run a publishing house or do any of those things. A lot of authors I met are very introverted. I love you guys, and I have to like pull them into like my events to write stuff. But like, if you trust somebody, you're more willing to work with them. Agents take a cut of whatever you do. So like if you're selling a book to Athon and you take whatever percentage it is, that goes straight to the agent or it goes to you, whatever. I don't know how that is. Agents, they do their own thing. They probably get like 30 submissions a week, then they have to do that. Most agents do not work in progression fantasy. There's only 2 or 3 that I would say actually do it, and they are working for the big boys. And the thing that people usually want agents for is to get their stuff into physical stores with a trad publishing company, because it's hard to get your stuff unless you are beating the streets with your feet and going to places in person. Again, I am neutral on agents. I think it's a good option for some people. However, you have to have a lot of trust. Let's see. Did I give everything? Oh, all right. And so this leads you to my like honest plea is like the Crit RPG podcast. I love that. They stopped doing stuff over the summer. they're doing all this stuff. I love the Quick RPG podcast. Saga Scribe stopped doing stuff. He stopped interviewing people. I'm actually going to interview him because he started writing. Um, there isn't a lot of media personalities besides like me and a few others. I'd say the Pop Up Lit RPG, great guy. Um, he's one of the few, but he's not a writer. So like, would he make money off of that? I don't think he wants to. My goal is not to make money off my YouTube channel, right? But like, there's not like a circuit. And when I say that, I mean like when you drop a book, you want to be able to talk to people about it. Like, I would love to bring someone on here and interview them about the book when it's released, right? Um, that's kind of where we're gonna. That's kind of where I'm going with this channel, talking to other artists, other authors about their stuff when it comes out. But like, there isn't like, there's a space for people like me to talk this, and I'm just like, or this is my honest plea. Like, we need more people like me. I have 100 followers or whatever, probably like 80 followers on YouTube. Somebody else can take this up and do better than me, right? I'm just a dude. I'm just a dad, um, talking to you about stuff, right? Anyway, that's my take on industry jobs. If you want me to go over any of these more in detail, drop a comment. Again, publishing is gambling, um, but if you are PA of a writer, you can understand the industry better, and you can like say like, okay, even if your stuff doesn't work, you're still writing on the side, and you still understand the industry. And then if you have something great, then maybe the writer that you are a PA for, they will promote your stuff, right? There's several people that did Launch Palooza that are in like six that are in the top 50 rising stars now. 3 weeks later, they have never had anything out, um, and I'm very proud of them. And I'm just like, okay, you guys can do great things. Make sure your Patreon's really updated. And that is a thing that your PA can do. Your PA can update your fiction. Your PA can update your Patreon and do all that stuff. And you're just like, I didn't know someone could take care of that for me. But like, you don't know it's possible when you just want to focus on the writing. So focus on the writing and let somebody else take care of those details for you, and just be like, hey, it's it is what it is. I need you to take care of Discord server, posting for me on Patreon, posting for me on Blue Sky, posting for me on Royal Road, scheduling my posts, schedule my shout out swaps. Right? They can take care of that for you. You pay them to do that, 3 hours a week, whatever. And you just pay them a good competitive rate so they like really enjoy what they're doing, right? And I would say like it'd be great to pay somebody 2 to 4 times what the minimum wage is in their country, and for them to be like, yeah, I'll do that shit. And then they're just like, I have money for an awesome dinner, right? The same thing if your Patreon is like over $1,000 over, and you like live in Southeast Asia, like consider hiring somebody local to manage stuff for you if you trust them, right? This goes back to trust. Like, I've talked to somebody for months. This is why I don't like when people DM me about scams. So much fun. Anyway, have a great day, besties.